more time. Come, come, whoever you. One more time. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worship, Father of need. Ours is the care. Everybody now. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worship, lover of leaving. Ours is no care, a land of despair. Come yet again, come. Surprise! Guide my feet while I run this race. Guide my feet while I run this race. Guide my feet while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. We got one more. Search my heart. Search my heart while I run this race. Search my heart while I run this race. Search my heart while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in
Now you may be seated, unless you are in the balcony and in just a few minutes after I'm done telling a story, you want to help Allison solve a problem. Do a little experiment in our time for all ages. That's you guys up in the front row. You want to come down? Yeah. You heard me. Woohoo! Thanks, guys. Good morning. My name is Ashley. I am one of the ministers here among you. Thank you. Reciprocal communication is so nice. The pastor who preceded me at my last church served there for over 30 years. He started around the time I was born, which, you know. He loved everyone and everything in that church, including the boiler of their old building. In fact, he was the pastor not only to the people, but to that boiler, which is to say he was the one who managed it with all the finesse and care an old boiler needs. Now, the problem was that when he wasn't there anymore, the building got a little cold, and nobody else knew how to warm it up. I spent my first few years in ministry there chasing down warmth. That is to say, figuring out all the proverbial boilers he had been tending without anybody knowing. Lucky for us here at First Universalist Church, our own beloved Reverend Jen is not in charge of the boiler. We are not cold while she is away doing exactly the ministry and the heart work that she is called to do right now in the wake of her father's death. We send her love in that work. And no matter how organized and wise a human is, their absence always leaves unanticipated challenges. Some boilers nobody knew anyone needed to tend. So this week, I have found myself in chase mode. I have found myself in more hours of meetings than can possibly be good for a human body. This has been true for many of us on staff. And I want to say on behalf of all of us, thank you for your grace in this time of transition. I also want to say that in the nervous system zone of chase, I forgot something that my predecessor at my last church embodied. That even tending a boiler with the right quality of attention can be ministry. So I want to remind all of us on this day, when we have our mid-year annual meeting this afternoon, that meetings are church. Or at least when they happen at church or with church people, meetings should be church. Which means even in the nitty-gritty of program and budget meetings and motions and voting, we should embody the love of our Unitarian Universalist tradition. And church, the kind we are doing right now, is spiritual work. It is not feel-good time, though I do hope joy is always present. It is a workout to strengthen and stretch our capacities to embody the love of our Unitarian Universalist tradition in ourselves, so that we might bring it beyond our walls. At least, so say our visionary goals. That's the first one of them. So, all of you, newcomers, long-timers, everyone, welcome to the business of worship. Let's crash the meeting into worship and the worship into the meeting, because they are all supposed to do the same thing, to teach us to embody love. Today's worship holds a reintroduction to our visionary goals this congregation has been building together, so we're ready to move them forward at our church part 2 this afternoon, also known as the congregational meeting. I hope you'll let yourself get to know the visionary goals again, or for the first time, through the stories of congregants already living them. I hope you'll feel them in your hearts and want them to guide your feet into our shared future. Let us light our chalice now. Let us begin this worship time. Allison, would you light our chalice? Allison is not going to light our chalice. Rosanna, would you light our chalice? There is a particular training for lighting our chalice that not all of us staff have had, including me, which is why I didn't just do it myself. Let us say now our covenanting beginning words. Love is the spirit of this church. Service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
At this time, I invite all of our children and youth to come forward and help me figure something out. Come on up. Come on up. We're going to figure something out together. You can sit on the chancel, you can sit on the floor, you can sit in the front row. Pick your spot. Get comfy wherever you want, whatever's best for you. Plenty of room. Plenty of room. Nice job. We got some spots. We see some friends. I'm loving it. So, Reverend Ashley was just talking to us about something that some of your grown-ups are going to be voting on later today. They're called the who knows what they are? Close, the visionary. And then in soccer, we score a goal, the visionary goals. We're going to be talking about the visionary goals in worship today, later today at our congregational meeting for those of you who are staying. And why do we need visionary goals? What do they do? Why do we have them? Who knows? Why would we have a goal that we're all working towards together? Yes?
I'm like a goal like at home
Yep.
or a goal at school.
Yeah, a goal at home or a goal at school?
Okay, so I'm working on being able to like play piano.
Yes!
Like 60 minutes every day.
Amazing.
I'm working on it right now, so.
And so what do you call it when you work on it? Do you call it practice?
I call it like practice or a goal, like because the goal is like working on it 60
Yes!
minutes every single day.
Amazing. What if we worked on our visionary goals 60 minutes every day? Who's going to do that? Who's going to work on our visionary goals for 60 minutes every day? All right, and what do we need to do to get better at them? We need to practice. That's exactly right. Yes, what else is a goal?
You can like sometimes I'm trying to ride a bicycle.
Yes.
Fall off, so I have to like go to the bicycle. Like there's like a little park for you to practice.
Yes.
And I practiced it so hard this
So
year.
hard.
I could go up ramps.
That's amazing. You can go up ramps. Who here thinks that we might sometimes fall off our visionary goals? Yeah, we might sometimes not get it all the way right. And then what do? We go to somewhere where we can practice. And where do we practice our visionary goals? It's church. We practice our visionary goals at church. Our church is the park that helps us bike up the ramp of getting our visionary goals together. Never give up, Theodore. That's exactly right. We're never going to give up on our visionary goals. Why else, grown-ups out here, why else might we have visionary goals? What do they do for us? What do you think?
Can I just share one of my
Yep, share one of your goals.
to actually get my homework done?
To get your homework done. Oh my gosh, who else has a goal of getting their work done? Yeah? Who else has a goal of not always getting their work done? Yeah? All right. So why do we have goals? What are our visionary goals helping us do? We spend a lot of time on them. Why? Our visionary goals help us, shout it out. Focus our energy. Say it again. Oh yeah, that's great. Say the other ones, you shout it out. Focus our energy. Say it, Raylan. Chart the course. What else? Inspire us. Someone over here? Guide our actions. Yes. Our visionary goals are going to help us with all of these things. And we're going to practice living into our visionary goals together. So I'm going to need 5 volunteers. And we have 5 volunteers. Let me teach you like a key part of growing up is knowing what you're volunteering for before you do it. So wait 1 minute. Hear what you're volunteering for. This is like a key life lesson that we're practicing right now.
Almost like a visionary goal.
Almost like a visionary goal. That is exactly right. That's exactly right. So I need 5 volunteers, and they're going to line up with our 5 visionary goals. So first, I need a volunteer who supports our visionary goal of caring for the earth. Who cares for the earth? Yeah, can you come stand up here? You want to come be one of our volunteers? Who supports our visionary goals of being friends with someone when they're going through a hard time or a really good time? Bennett, you want to stand up here? Here's one of our visionary goals. Who supports our visionary goals of living out our Unitarian Universalist values in everyday life? Do you? You want to come up here? Who supports our visionary goal of leadership? You want to come up here? Leadership? All right, and who supports our visionary goal of social justice? You gonna come up here? All right, we're gonna have another 5 volunteers later. So I need to go get some props. This falls in the category of things that would have been so distracting during that entire part of the story. All right, my dudes. What have we got here? It's a huge spoon. It's a spoon on a stick.
Spoon on a big tall ruler.
Yeah, it's a spoon on a yardstick. This is the next state fair treat, by the way, spoon on a stick. Spoon on a long ruler.
Just imagine,
Deep fried spoon on a stick.
imagine like eating ice cream with
Eating ice cream. And what have we got in here, my dudes?
I can't see.
Can you see? M&Ms. M&Ms. So here's something we're going to try. So can the 5 of you stand up for me? I want you to each take one of these spoons on a stick. One of them, do not get a splinter. And this one? Oh, all right, and here's the sitch with these rules. You can actually face this way so folks can see you. I want you to hold the ruler straight out in front of you. Don't poke. You might have to scoot back. You might have to scoot back so you don't poke anybody. And the middle of your palm needs to be on the edge of the yardstick. The middle of your palm, you can hold it with your hand, but that's just where it has to be. Like, you can hold it with your fingers, but that's just where it has to. Yes, Bennett's got it. All right. Here, hold your spoon up so that it's facing up. And I'm going to put one M&M on each of your spoons. I forgot to tell you, this is also a dexterity challenge. Can you balance the M&M on your spoon? Just kidding, that's not really what we're doing. Can I grab yours? Can you lean it over a little bit? All right. And I would like you, keeping your hand on the end of the yardstick, I would like you to feed yourselves the M&Ms. Keeping your hand, nope, you can't touch it. You can't touch it. Just gotta go straight. So close. You dropped it. Here, I'll put it back on your spoon. All right, keep trying. Try really hard. Feed yourselves your M&Ms. Feed yourselves your M&Ms. You can. All right. So here's my question. Did that work? Did it work? Did they eat their M&Ms? Did they eat their M&Ms?
I'm so close.
But you can't get it is the thing. So why didn't that work, you guys? It's too long. Yeah, it's too long. It's torture. I can't eat this M&M. It's so close. It's so close.
It's so far.
So here we go. So here's my question to you. All right, I'm going to collect these. Take your M&Ms. Do not eat them. I'm going to take your M&M. You take your M&M. You take your M&M. Take this. Take this. Take this. You might later. Let me take your yardsticks. No, here, put this in this hand.
So you don't want to give your dirty M&M back.
That's right. All righty, my dudes. So did that work? No, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? You're so close. It was too long. Some people think they can do it, but here's what I want to know. Here's what I want to know once everybody's settled. Here's what I want to know. What did I tell you to do?
Eat it.
Oh, is that what I said? What did I say? Feed it to your selves. Did I say feed it to yourself? No. I said feed it to your selves. So what's a way that people can eat the M&Ms off the end of the long ruler? Yes.
They can turn their hand like this way.
That's a good guess. What'd you say?
They can feed it to the person next to us.
Feed it to the person next to us. That's exactly right. So can I have 10 volunteers who have not volunteered yet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stand up, line up in 2 rows facing each other. facing each other. Should be 2 rows?
Can I do it too?
No, we just need 10. Line up in a row. There you go. Yeah, that'll work. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. A row. Can you stand here? Elliot, can you go stand there? You all got a buddy. This way. Face this way. Okay. Yeah, you're standing right here. Right here, Elliot. All right. You get a yardstick. You get a yardstick. You get a yardstick. You get a yardstick. And you get a yardstick.
Then can I try it?
Take an M&M.
Then can I?
Put it on the end of your yardstick, on the spoon. And hold it with your palm where? Your palm at the end of the yardstick. M&M? Daphne, you take one of these, put it on the end of your spoon. Bounce it on your... This is ridiculous! Take an M&M, put it on the end of your spoon. Elliot, take an M&M, put it on the end of your spoon. All right, and now what are we going to do? We're gonna feed it to each other. Go! Yes! You feed yourselves the M&Ms. Nice job. All right, I'm going to take these back. Everybody take another seat back on the chancel. Seat back on the chancel. Seat back up here. There you go. Here, Elliot, I'll take that. Seat, oops. Seat back up here. Seat. So here's my question. Why did that work the second time and not the first time? Why did it work the second time? Hands to yourselves, please. Why did that work, Elliot? Hands to yourselves, please. Why did that work the second time and not, yes, Daphne?
Because we fed it to each other.
Yes, because we fed it to each other. So here's my questions, Theodore, about the visionary goals. Are the visionary goals for us as individuals, or are the visionary goals for us as a group? Group, they're for us as a group. We do this, yes. We do this. We cannot do this alone, just like we can't on our own eat the M&Ms from the end of a stick. It is just too long. We just can't do it. So some people really think they can, and yet we had minimal success. And so here's what I want us to take away, all right? Here's what I want us to take away from our visionary goals, is that our visionary goals, we feed each other. Just like we fed each other these M&Ms, we feed each other at church, we support each other, we nourish each other. We cannot do this alone. None of us can do this alone. No matter how long your arms are, you cannot do church alone. We cannot live into our visionary goals by ourselves. We live into our visionary goals how? Together. Thank you all. If you would like an M&M, you can come take one. And then my children and youth, please dismiss to the back. One. Dismiss to the back for your religious education class. 1. If you've already had one, you can't have another one. Later. We'll do it after church.
Love will guide us, peace and guide us.
settle ourselves a bit more deeply into that love now. Breathe it in. Feel it holding you up. Know it is as close as your breath. Now is the time when we hold each other in that love, when we lighten the load or let the joy spread by carrying our joys and our pains together. This morning, I invite you to respond to each prayer spoken aloud with this refrain: you are not alone, we are holding it together. I'm going to give you a practice round here. I pray a prayer of gratitude for our team of about 20 Habitat volunteers who worked yesterday tirelessly, making a home, making a sanctuary, and throw out that February 10th is your next opportunity to make a home. Beloved Habitat team, thank you for reminding people, for a family, that they are not alone. Let us say, you are not alone. We are holding it together. I pray a prayer of gratitude also for Carol and Welcome. Are you here? Carol, I saw you. Welcome might be too worn out from this. They spent 6 hours together poring over a spreadsheet to make 70 people into circle suppers for the months to come. And Dan, thank you, Dan, too. A prayer of gratitude for each of you for the ways you are making sure we each know we are not alone. You are not alone. We are holding it together. A prayer of joy also in the celebration for Ray Lynn, who passed their licensing exams and starts a new job as a first grade teacher at Frost Lake Elementary School in St. Paul tomorrow. You are not alone in that joy. We are holding it together. What prayers, what joys do you hold that we can hold together? We hold alone. We are holding it together for Jenny's brother. For Julie having emergency surgery tomorrow. You are not alone. We are holding it together. Beloveds online, you may type your prayers into the chat and I will also lift those up here.
2 months after the surgery on my right foot, I can finally wear a shoe line.
Marie, for your foot and healing, you are not alone. We are holding it together.
Grief still sucks.
Grief still sucks. For all holding grief, you are not alone. We are holding it together.
For all the migrants at the southern border who are currently being weaponized by the Texas government, many of those individuals who are indigenous to South America.
For all the migrants at the southern border being weaponized for political reasons in Texas, who are also indigenous to that area, many of whom are. You are not alone. We are holding it together. For Maggie, who is struggling with nerve pain, you are not alone. We are holding it together. for Philip Vance in Stillwater Prison. You are not alone. We are holding it together. For all the prayers that rest silently on our hearts, we honor those now. We say, you are not alone. We are holding it together. Let us sing our holding now as we sing Spirit of Life.
Good morning. I'm Deb Keller, one of your worship associates. The fog of anesthesia slowly lifted, and I became more aware of my surroundings. When I opened my eyes, I saw a room full of brightly dressed women surrounding the hospital bed next to mine. Their colorful dresses and hats were in stark contrast to the sterile room we were sharing. These women had skin the color of mahogany. They were beautiful. The bed next to me held a young girl about my age. I was 10 at the time. These beautiful, brightly dressed women each had a hand on her. One of the women noticed me beginning to wake up from my emergency appendectomy, and she moved near me and said, "Welcome back, dear child," and placed her hand on my forehead. She said they had been praying for me while I was asleep. No one had ever told me they had prayed for me before, and my family regularly attended church. I felt such a sense of comfort and safety and love in the words of this woman I didn't even know, her hand on my forehead. As our families shared the space of this hospital room, we learned that their beloved was dying of leukemia. Still, this family made space for me and my family with such ease and generosity. They invited us to sing and pray with them. They showed me how to make space for joy and grief at the same time. It was my first true understanding of the power of faith and spirit. Their spiritual generosity impacted me deeply. Congregation, may the space that we share in the richness of our Unitarian Universalist faith generosity, in collaboration with our neighboring faiths, be a call to action on behalf of our beloved earth and environment. Soon, our ushers will step forward to collect today's offering. In this moment, we have the chance to transform our values into real-world impact. The funds we gather today will support the vital work of Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light. This statewide organization empowers faith communities of all kinds to spearhead the movement for climate justice. Our environmental justice team collaborates closely with Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light, using this partnership to amplify our congregation's fight against climate change and other environmental injustices. We acknowledge that generosity takes many forms through prayer, presence, participation, and financial offerings. Still, there are times when we find ourselves in need to receive from our beloved community. If you are currently in a place where you need to receive, know that needing to receive is common to every life's journey. Many of us have found ourselves on a similar path. Please reach out to one of our ministers in person or via email, and they will guide you towards the gifts of resources that we save up to hold you in difficult times. By giving and receiving with grace and generosity, may we grow. May this be ever so. The ushers may now come forward to receive this morning's offering. Thank you so much, congregation, for your generosity.
Somebody prayed for me, had me on their mind, took the time to pray for me. I'm so glad they prayed. I'm so glad they prayed. I'm so glad they prayed for me. My mother prayed for me, had me on her mind, took the time to pray for me. I'm so glad she prayed. I'm so glad she prayed. I'm so glad she prayed for me. The preacher prayed for me, had me on their mind, took the time to pray for me. I'm so glad they prayed. I'm so glad they prayed. I'm so glad they prayed for me.
To know someone deeply. To know someone deeply is like hearing the moon through the ocean, or having a hawk lay bright leaves at your feet. It seems impossible, even while it happens. Discovering who we are is like breaking a trail up the side of a mountain. Yet the deepest friendships begin when we look into the eye of another and discover that they have been there too. It is always astonishing to me to find out that someone else sees what I have seen, and always humbling to learn that what I thought was my path and my mountain is everyone's. We carry the whole world's within us as we brush by each other in the supermarket to read mayonnaise jars. The entire drama of life churns in our blood as we rush underground to catch a train. We are always both so known and unknown. This is why knowing someone deeply is such a treasure. It opens up the sky of all time. It lets the song come out of the sea. It lets the heart, like a photograph, be developed for being touched by another. And though we may find someone along the way who's been where we are or going where we've been, we must never stop breaking our own trail up the mountain, for only by daring to be ourselves can we deeply know others. This is a reading by Mark Nepo from the Book of Awakenings.
When the storms of life are raging, stand by me. When the storms of life are raging, stand by me. When the world is tossing me like a ship upon the sea, thou who rulest wind and water, stand by me. In the midst of persecution, stand by me. In the midst of persecution, stand by me. When my foes in battle array undertake to stop my way, thou who never lost a battle, stand by me. In the midst of faults and failures, stand by me. In the midst of faults and failures, stand by me. When I do the best I can, and my friends misunderstand, thou who saved Paul and Silas, thou who knowest all about me, thou who rulest wind and water, stand by me.
They don't actually work as well as you think they do, trust me. Hopefully by next weekend. A poet writes that the most beautiful artwork comes from us. That our lives are like a mosaic. Sometimes we have to break apart in order to remake ourselves. That's the beauty of life. With each trial, we are constructing new and different versions of ourselves, sculpting into a beautiful masterpiece. So writes a poet. Earlier this week, Reverend Ashley Harness shared that today's message was a mosaic, composed of different voices coming together to make a whole. I wondered in our conversation if she was nodding toward our brokenness, and she said, "Not exactly, but what do you mean?" To which I replied in the spirit of that poem, that each of us is always being unmade and remade, cells regenerating all the time, spirit ebbing and flowing, wounds healing, and sometimes new wounds being created. That in our lives, amongst us in community, relationships fray and mend and fray again. So too in the wider world, where we heal and break and heal and break. Broken and becoming all at the same time. This is the context for our shared life together. Broken and becoming and trying to move together toward a more beloved community. That larger collective becoming together. That is what we receive from the hearts, the spirits, and the minds that make up this morning's message. We will be hearing this morning from Rasana Mamdani, a member of our youth leadership team, about shared leadership and inclusion. We will be hearing from one of our members, Jean Guion, about meaningful presence in times of joy and grief. And we will be hearing from the Reverend Ashley Haran, also known as the other Reverend Ashley H. Ashley is not just a member here in this congregation, an affiliated community minister, but also was recently named the Vice President of Programs and Ministries for our Unitarian Universalist Association. This is a really big deal. Ashley will be speaking to us, preaching to us of our shared aspirations for justice and care of the earth.
My name is Rasana Mamdani, and I am a member of our church's youth leadership team. This team, composed of 10th through 12th graders, was formed in September and has been working diligently to advocate for the issues that resonate with the youth of the congregation. From advising on this year's Christmas pageant to planning senior high curriculum and events, the youth leadership team plays a huge role in shaping the experiences of the youth and children within our congregation. Beyond event planning, we engage in discussions on matters that concern the youth, ensuring that voices are heard and incorporated into the decision-making process. One of the youth leadership team's key commitments is to fostering channels between youth and adults in the church. One of the ways we do this is by having 1 or 2 youth representatives at board meetings each month. These youth serve as spokespeople, allowing our collective youth voice to be heard more distinctly in matters of the church's governance. Having grown up in this church, I have seen the ways that this church and our children and youth programs have changed. The establishment of the youth leadership team underscores the church's commitments to centering new voices and creating a space for youth to contribute meaningfully. By prioritizing and listening to voices that are usually overlooked, not only are we leaning into our UU values of inclusion, but we are also actively practicing what we preach by listening more fully to members of our church community. I invite you to learn more about the youth leadership team by joining us down in the social hall, where we have a table at Sign Up Sunday. We are more than happy to talk about our initiative, upcoming events, and ways in which you, as adults, can get involved with us. Regardless of your age, your curiosity and participation are crucial in creating a beloved community where all voices are heard and included in the decision-making process. The youth leadership team is just one of the many ways First Universalist is expanding ideas of leadership and who can participate in it. Together, let us continue to cultivate a beloved community where every voice, regardless of age, background, identity, contributes to the ever-unfolding journey of our church.
Good morning. My name is Jean Guillon. I use she, her pronouns. Before I begin, I want to thank those who I mention here as I speak, who have graciously given me permission to share their stories and words. I joined First Universalist Church more than 13 years ago to become part of a faith community that not only fostered individual and communal spiritual growth and had a focus on social and racial justice, but also a place where I could form meaningful connections, a community where I could be there for others and they for me during important life transitions. This was and continues to be the right place for me. Often when I've been in small circles and groups, even committee work, social justice activities, and much more, I felt this meaningful presence with others here. We shared everyday aspects of life, but it was at times of significance that I felt this connection even more deeply. Sharing the joy at the marriages of my children and the births of my grandchildren. In periods of grief with the death of my parents, brother-in-law, and struggles in the lives of my friends. And in phases of change, most notably, my divorce 8 years ago. Ministers, staff, and more importantly, many congregants were there with me, listening, caring, building a shared experience of mutual support. And at times, I've been able to provide this for others as well, feeling that deep sense of receiving while giving. In the past few weeks, I'm grateful to have experienced this sense of meaningful presence from this congregation in a profound way. My partner of 4 years, Tom Allen, and I had been exploring ways to help his wife, Julie, in her end-of-life journey. Julie was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's about 15 years ago, and Tom was looking for ways to create a loving and supported way where Julie could let go. It was time. Her long journey with this disease was at a final stage. And yes, you heard that right. Tom and I are in a loving, committed relationship at a time when he was still married. I never thought I'd do that. But it was less complicated than it may sound. In the early phase, Tom and Julie had agreed to this possibly happening. They decided to make meaning of this Alzheimer's journey together. They were part of support groups, presented at conferences, were interviewed by the Star Tribune, and helped found the now international Giving Voice Choir for people with dementia and their caregivers. They knew there would come a point when they would still be together, but not on the same path, and that where each was going, the other couldn't fully follow. He told her he'd stay with her throughout her journey, and Julie wanted him to go on to love another, if this was meant to be. Their love was so deep. Tom and I have appreciated how so many people have understood and affirmed our relationship, including many of you in this community. Tom courageously chose to bring Julie home from memory care in early January of this year. He was able to do this with support from those closest to them, with an end-of-life doula, and a wonderful hospice team. He knew he wanted to make this a sacred time, a time of vigil, in addition to caring for Julie's physical needs. Tom has his own faith community and an incredible personal support system. I also reached out to my people and my faith community here at First U, sharing about what we felt was a compassionate and loving, and yes, very difficult act. When Reverend Ashley asked me, "So how are you doing, Jean? What do you need?" I at first said, "I'm fine. Lots of people are there for me." And this is true. That's so true. But when she suggested, what if we do a parallel vigil here with a small group of people you choose to support you along with Julie and their family, I was deeply touched. Yes, please, I'd like that. Ashley organized it all. I have no idea what it took. I'm sure a lot. I'm just very, very grateful. For 6 days, while we held physical and spiritual vigil with Julie, the small First U group held daily vigil online with poetry, beautiful photos of lit chalices, and such supportive and caring words. I read this each day, and at times shared it with Tom, and even read some of the poetry to Julie at her bedside. It was comforting, beautiful, and it built community among us. Some of the online vigil participants wrote, "I am honored to have been here making space with deep presence and awe." Another, "This vigil is taking my heart and my spirit many places and back again. I appreciate the powerful and meaningful words shared." And another, "Thank you for letting us hold you in the brilliance of love on this journey. It has been such an honor." When we're invited into these places of vulnerability with each other, there is deep connection and meaning-making. I am so grateful to be part of this beloved First Universalist Church community.
am the Reverend Ashley Horan, otherwise known as the other Reverend Ashley H. I use she and her pronouns. I am a queer, white, fat, femme-presenting person with red hair, red lipstick, and a very yellow Side with Love stole. And I have the honor of being an affiliated community minister and a member with this congregation. And as Arif mentioned earlier, a part of the national denominational staff at the Unitarian Universalist Association. Since the summer of 2019 and until this coming Wednesday, I have served as the UUA's Organizing Strategy Director, which is a lot of words saying that I get and have gotten the pleasure of leading the incredible team that holds all of the outward-facing social justice work of our denomination under the banner of Side with Love. We're the ones behind those yellow shirts that so many of you proudly wear. My time at the UUA has been an incredibly volatile one for humanity and for the earth. From global pandemic to rising authoritarianism, to climate collapse and unceasing war. My tenure at the UUA has included the global uprising in response to the murder of George Floyd, the January 6th attempted coup and insurrection, the fights over Line 3 and Cop City, the rise of Moms for Liberty and the fall of Roe v. Wade, an unchecked and ongoing genocide in Palestine that has killed more than 25,000 people, and a wave of anti-trans legislative attacks so devastating that experts predict that more than half of the states in this nation will be life-threatening or uninhabitable by our trans and non-binary kin by 2026. But the thing that saves me from despair, again and again and again, is watching our congregations claim their place as a part of a larger people-powered movement for justice, for healing, in which we refuse to accept the nihilism of apathy and hopelessness. I need you to know these stories too. I want you to know about the UU congregation in Dallas, Texas, that has developed a partnership with an abortion clinic in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They provide funding and logistical support, travel accompaniment, and spiritual care to more than 20 people each month seeking abortions. People who would not otherwise be able to access, hold your clapping, because let me tell you, there's a whole litany of these. People who otherwise would not be able to access life-saving reproductive health care. I need you to know about the volunteers from an ever-expanding network of UU congregations across the country who are week by week opening their homes and their doors to strangers, trans and non-binary people and their families and their pets who are traveling either to access health care or to relocate to safer places as a part of what we are calling the Pink Haven Coalition. I want you to know about the 25 UU Good Trouble congregations who, as a part of our UU The Vote program in 2022, did 4 out of 7 of the following things. Averaged 20 postcards, letters, calls, or door knocks per person. Averaged 2 registered voters per person or 200 texts per member. Supported at least 2 congregants in becoming line warmers or poll workers or poll watchers. I guess it's 8. Engaged 20% or more of their membership in UU The Vote pro-democratic activities. 25 UU congregations ranging from 27 members to more than 1,000 met those goals last year. I want to tell you about the cohort of UUs from Atlanta and across the country who have phone banked and protested and door knocked and provided jail support and literally put their bodies in front of bulldozers as a part of the Stop Cop City movement to resist the environmentally devastating and morally corrupt construction of a militarized police facility in Atlanta. I want to tell you about the UU clergy and the lay folks in North Carolina who have spearheaded the building of this incredible multi-faith, multi-organizational rapid response network that is capable of quickly mobilizing mass numbers of people, whether it be to the Capitol to protest legislation that needs protesting, or literally creating and encircling polling places with their bodies to prevent the Proud Boys from intimidating voters for showing up, when the Proud Boys are the police, just out of uniform. I want to tell you about the cluster of UU congregations who just last month dove in, offering their buildings and their parking lots as hubs for Canvas teams, leading signature collection drives across Florida in a statewide partner-led campaign to push a ballot measure that would undo the current 6-week abortion ban that exists in that state. This is just a small fraction of what I could tell you about our sibling congregations doing across the country, and I know I could tell stories from this congregation too. What all of these stories share in common is that they are examples of congregations prioritizing external impact over internal politics. They are churches that are waist deep in the complex work of imperfect partnership. They are communities that understand deep in their bones that they cannot do the work alone, no matter how big or small they are. And as this congregation does Church 2.0 at the congregational meeting after this service, committing to pursue our individual and collective work for justice in relationship with those most affected by systems of oppression, and to foster our connection with, care for, and action on behalf of Earth's environment and all life, I pray that we as a community will continue to lean into solidarity over charity, that we will resist the falsehood that one justice issue is more urgent or important than another, that we will do the soul work of continuing to build relationships within, among, and beyond this congregation that are defined by low ego, high trust, deep impact, and tenacious hope. To paraphrase the poet Adrienne Rich, our hearts are moved by all we cannot save. So much has been destroyed. We have to cast our lots with those who, age after age, perversely, and with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world. May it be so, my friends. Blessed be Ashe and Amen.
Will you sing with me? Awake now, my senses, hear the earth call, hear the power of living in all. Keep with the web of creation your heart. Give me receive as love shows.
Dear ones, as you go forth today, there are at least two things that we would like you to carry with you, like you to remember. The first, in the words of Allison Connolly Vetter, is that a key part of growing up is learning what you're volunteering for before you volunteer for it. You heard it here first. And let us also remember that the beloved community is not a destination. It is something that we move toward through our actions in ourselves, amongst each other, and out in the wider world. Know this, practice this in the ways that you will, and always remember that where you go, we will go. May it be so, and amen.